Hey, what's happening, everybody? Robert Phoenix here, broadcasting to you live from Fredericksburg, Texas. Yes, it's your blue collar astrologer coming at you live 9/11. I'm shooting for 9/11 every day. That's my remembrance moment. Never forget 9/11. How many people even really know what went down in 9/11, let alone forget it? There's a whole generation of people now, kids, my son, born on the outside of 9/11. It's an event he'll never know. Of course, his 9/11 became Parkland, the big school shooting in Florida. Remember that? David Hogg. I think they're on their way to Poway now. I think the Parkland kids on their world tour, on their violence world tour, are on their way to Parkland. They're like a new rock band, the Parkland kids, because rock and roll doesn't exist anymore. I was thinking about this morning. Like rock music has just gone away. It's like, where did it go? It's just like, okay, let's move that along. We're done with that. We're done with that thing. Uh, there are basically three types of popular music now. There's crap, crappier, and crappiest. Those are the three genres that are really popular. Crap, crappier, and crappiest. Okay, let me break down. Hey, Dawn and Maury. I got a Dawn sighting. What's going on, Dawn? Delta Dawn. What's that flower you got on? There's Rita. Hi, Rita. Justice. T-Girl. Christine. Morning, morning, morning. Yeah, I was listening to some Rolling Stones this morning. Remember them? Remember rock and roll music? So yeah, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about whatever happened to rock and roll. They just said, okay, it's over now. It's done. We don't rock and roll. Rock and roll is rebellion. Oh, we don't really want rebellion. That served us during the 1960s and the 70s, where we wanted, the youth of America to rebel against everything, everybody, and anyone. Remember that movie Wild in the Streets, where anybody over the age of 18 was considered the man? If you haven't watched Wild in the Streets, it's actually a pretty interesting movie. It's the cinematic debut of Richard Pryor, plays a drummer in a rock band. It's kind of a dated film in some ways, but it's also very entertaining and some interesting themes about youth and youth culture and the exploitation of youth culture in our society. But there's no rock music anymore because rock is rebellious. It's part of it's rebellious. It wants to stir shit up and tear things down. That's rock and roll. What do we have now? There are three genres. Three genres. Three. Here they are. Pop music. It's a pretty wide genre, right? Pop music back in the 60s and 70s was that was the hit factory. That was the big hit factory back then. You wanted to make a hit record, you went into pop. Bubblegum psychedelia, pop music. It's still around, and it's probably the most popular form. And I would throw Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus, Iggy Azalea, who else? Lady Gaga is pop. She had a record called Pop Art, and she was supposed to be working with Lou Reed, and Lou Reed couldn't fucking stand her. Refused to work with her. Thought her understanding of the Velvet Underground scene and what happened in New York was completely naive. Ironically, Lou Reed died not long after he dissed Lady Gaga and didn't want to work with her. Now, I'm not saying there's a connection there, but the timing is very unusual. I guess you could throw Justin Timberlake maybe in that pop music category. Have you seen that commercial, a Verizon commercial, where there's that guy? He's wearing the hat. He's wearing that kind of the hipster hat. He's wearing the hipster hat. He's talking about, I can't believe it. I was front stage, front and center. I was front row with JT. Right? He's going on and on about me, my wife, and JT. Oh my God, thank you, Verizon. I grew up in an era where that guy would have been hitched up behind the bumper of a car and dragged through the high school parking lot. No, that's a little severe. It's a little severe, but it's true. I mean, for crying out loud, we had standards. We had standards. The sort of the version of Justin Timberlake from when I was growing up was somebody like Donny Osmond. Although Justin Timberlake dances better. He has better dance moves. You know, you had the Bobby Shermans, the Donny Osmonds, and, you know, you had these guys who were plastic pop stars. And we couldn't stand it. It was like, are you kidding me? That's all gone now. You see, because rock and roll has a bit too much testosterone, too. That's the other thing. I mean, it's got too much testosterone. It gets people to think about things like, you know, sex and cars, and it's gone. It's just gone. So we got the pop genre, and then there's hip hop, and I'm not a hip hop guy. There's some hip hop I like. I used to be in the music business, and I knew some really very talented hip hop artists and hip hop labels, many of which you have not heard of, nor will the mainstream media or the music industry promote them. There was this one group out of the Bay Area called Black Alicious, and those guys were amazing, really amazing. And they would play the kind of the festival circuit. They were called backpacker hip hop. This was hip hop that kind of smart urban kids, both black and white, listened to. They were great. I had lots of great relationships with labels during that time. Some artists that were very cool, very, very cool. That era's over. The hip hop that's being promoted now is horrible. It's trash. Kendrick Lamar's not bad, but mostly it's trash. And then the third genre is country and western. Country and western has kind of replaced rock and roll. That's like the new white people music, country and western. And I can't think of kind of a more flaccid genre. We've got the King, the entrance of the King. The King is about to make his entrance. Come on up here, let's go. Come on, let's go. Make it happen. There it is. Mr. Tail Feathers. Like, you got to go over there. You want to say hi to everybody? I asked if he was going to come on the show today. He said yes. There he is. You want to say hi? Country western is just so flaccid. There's no rebellion in country and western music. It's just conformity. And it's not even good conformity anymore. Their country western music is like God and country and Stand by the Troops and all those really kind of spineless tropes. You know, there was a brief period in time where there was kind of an outlaw element to country music. You know, it's right here in the hill country, Lukenbach, Texas, just down the road from where I am. It's ground zero for outlaw music. It's not even that anymore. It's kind of like, let's move the white people from rock and roll, which is rebellious, over to country and western music, which is really about conformity. Those are the three genres. I remember during the 80s, this is back when they actually had A&R people and labels actually mattered. I mean, there was investment in music in a big way, really big way. You know, there was blues. Blues was a genre that was kind of on the ropes, and in the 80s, it just really kind of began to explode with Robert Cray and people like that. John Lee Hooker had a rebirth and a renaissance. And then you get to the middle part of the 80s. You know, Stevie Ray Vaughan pops onto the scene. With his solo career. And then you have Jimmy, his brother, and the Thunderbirds, and it was a really good time for blues. And I'm not a big soft jazz guy, but even jazz was, had kind of a place in the musical world. None of that stuff has a place anymore. None of it. It's all under. I guess it's cool because it's gone back underground in some way. So if you're into it now, boy, you're really kind of into something, outside the box. Anyway, those are your three genres of music, and rock and roll is conspicuously absent. And there's a reason why. It's dangerous. They don't want dangerous music. They don't want dangerous people. They don't want people that are speaking out. They don't want people that are, getting close to that third rail with truth, whatever that is. We're going to get into a little bit of that today. Jasper. Jasper's being hyper, he's needy today. He's needy. So Jasper, when are we going to have your birthday party? Should we have Jasper's birthday on Monday? We'll have you a birthday party on Monday. How about Cinco de Mayo? When is that? That's Thursday. Let's see, today's the 2nd. Tomorrow, Friday's the 3rd. All right, Sunday night on the live stream, Cinco de Mayo, we're going to have your birthday party. And we're going to have some cat food with some candles. You guys sing happy birthday to Jasper then? You need to go over there on the other side of the screen. Behind the screen. All right, so there's a couple things I want to get into. Where do I want to start? I've got some clips and stuff. Okay, so first of all, David Icke was supposed to be at a film screening last night in LA. Somebody's done a documentary on David Icke called Renegade, which is kind of in the theme of our show today, which is about rock and roll, rebellion, danger. I'm not talking Antifa danger. I'm not talking that. I'm not talking about being down by the border and getting some kind of weird viral disease kind of danger. Talking rock and roll danger. Anyway, David Icke, 2 hours before he was supposed to be at the screening of the movie, he gets a phone call and the theater has canceled. And he thinks George Soros was behind it, or one of George Soros's groups. This is disturbing. This is really disturbing because David Icke is David Icke's kind of tame. I mean, he's gotten tamer in some ways. He still works very hard, and he still does everything in his power to uncover the truth, even though not everybody likes David Icke. He's still out there doing his thing, and he got canceled. So this is the Los Angeles Air Theater Band's Renegade film premiere at 2 hours' notice. It's from David's website, davidicke.com. Contempt for freedom and customers. So he's got a statement that he did over on his website about it. And if you want to watch that YouTube video, it's probably about 18 minutes long, 19 minutes long. And he talks about what happened. This is the second time he was not even allowed to travel to Australia. Australia has banned him. So these are the latest developments on the truth front in this part of the world and what we're dealing with. It's crazy. But we're just now getting into the thick of the skirmish in a lot of ways. And there's more. There's another thing I want to show you today. I'm going to put the link for this next thing over in the chat room, which you guys should definitely partake of here. I'll put it in both chat rooms. I put this up on Facebook. I'm having a hard time with my streaming today. This is not fun. Here we go. We're back on. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Let's plan a gathering at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. Oh, I like that. I like that. All right. This is the website right there. Someone here suggested Eva Cassidy. Okay, check her out. Same happened when he tried to get on a plane from LA to Australia. But yep, we just talked about that. I just dropped that. Good music never ceases. There is good music out there. There is some, but let's just look at it from a cultural perspective. Rock and roll just doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. So I want to bring this up here. Where is this? Here we go. Right there. Okay, so this is an index of unreliable news and websites. You've got you guys over on the YouTube side have it. Let me throw it in over on the 15 minutes side of things, so you guys have it as well. You can go over it. Like to keep you informed, keep you guys in the loop. Right here. Pull this down. There that is. You know, you both sides have the link. So I'm going to read you. This is, when I found this, it blew my mind yesterday. So this is a website called poynter.org, Poynter, and it is a site that is dedicated to giving you guys an index of unreliable news websites. So their graphic is false, hoax, fake news, fake. So what they're doing is they're turning the fake news meme around, and they're pointing it back at us because we've been telling the major news corporations that most of their news, which has been created and controlled by the intelligence agencies and the corporations, is fake news. So now they're turning around and go, okay, you want fake news? We're going to show you fake news. This is by Barrett Goldine. What a name. Misinformation is a thriving industry on the internet, supported by social media shares, advertising dollars, and political donations. In the United States, scores of research reports try to measure how falsehoods spread online. These studies often require lists of untrustworthy news sites, but many of these lists have grown out of date and incomplete. Better data means better results for researchers, reporters, and readers, so the International Fact-Checking Network built a more complete data set, UnNews, an index of unreliable news sites. To create the index, we combined 5 major lists, see below, then eliminated the sites that were no longer active. We only used lists that were public and curated by established journalists or academics, contained original data rather than information from other lists, stated their criteria for inclusion, and defined how they graded different. The index's initial release relies on the 5 major list determinations and definitions of unreliable. Our next release will include more sites and the criteria we use for inclusion. But for now, here are the databases of unreliable news sites that we pulled from to create our index. So they've got 5 sources they're pulling from. Factcheck.org, created by the Annenberg Public Policy Center at the University of Pennsylvania. That is a Bill Ayers, if I'm not mistaken. That's a Bill Ayers production. Fake News Codex, widely quoted by Snopes and others, maintained by web developer and data designer Chris Herbert. Oh, because Chris Herbert has the clarity, insight, and the more authority to understand what's real and what's not real. Open sources run by Merrimack University Media Studies professor Melissa Zimdar. So these are individuals, right? Annenberg, a group, Fake News Codex, Chris Herbert, open sources, Melissa Zimdar's. Here's one that's interesting. PolitiFact's Fake News Almanac. And PolitiFact is a joint project of the Tampa Bay Times and Poynter. So now we have a newspaper. Now the Tampa Bay Times, if I'm not mistaken, was the newspaper that went after Jeffrey Epstein. Is that right? And then, of course, the Snopes Field Guide to Fake News Sites and Hoax Purveyors, created by Snopes, the oldest and largest online fact-checking organization. All right, so let's have a look at some of the sites. Some of the sites I'm not aware of, but I am now, and I'll be happy to check them out. Above Top Secret, ATP has been known for a long time as a website that has been run by the alphabet agencies. Don't these people know? 21st Century Wire, some of you, I think that's Patrick Henningsen. That's on here. Let's see, Activist Post, which is a news site I think some of you guys go to. That's on here. Let's see, AmericanFreePress.net. That's on here. AmericanThinker.com. Let's see, AmmoLand. How about that? Amren is a site. Now they've got little they've got adjectives here. So for instance, 21st Century News Wire is fake and conspiracy. We go to, let's see, Activist Post is conspiracy and it's unreliable, but apparently it's not fake. Antiwar.com. Bias. Oh, like, who doesn't have bias? Unreliable. Let's see, what else do they have? Before It's News. Fake conspiracy. Who else? Blacklisted News. Clickbait, unreliable. Oh, clickbait's another description here. Christwire.org, fake satire. Clickhole, satire. Coast to Coast AM, all you George fans, fake and unreliable. How about that? Is that funny? commondreams.org. It's another site that's on the list. Let's see what else. Daily Cause. Clickbait. Daily Caller. Bias. Clickbait. David Wolf. I found this to be very interesting. David Wolf. David Avocado Wolf. Mr. Health. Mr. Hi, I'm selling the Bullet Blender. David Wolf is on this list. And David Wolf is conspiracy. Guess who he's right under? David Duke. So you got David Duke and David Wolf. Amazing. Dark Moon, Lasha Dark Moon. Bias, unreliable. The DC Gazette, fake. Disclose TV. The Drudge Report, bias. Drudge Report is on here. Dutch Sense, conspiracy. EducateYourself.org, conspiracy. Let's see. You know what else is on here, which I found to be really interesting? Gaia. Gaia is on here. Gaia.com. Gaia.com. Conspiracy. Conspiracy. TheExpress.co.uk. That's a newspaper. It's an English newspaper. Unreliable. How funny. Godlike Productions. Conspiracy. Government slaves. Fake. Conspiracy. Henry Macau. Conspiracy. See where this is going? Oh, InfoWars is on here too, of course. Fake, unreliable conspiracy. The Infinite Unknown India Times. India Times. Unreliable. That's a newspaper that covers India, like one of the largest, most populated countries on the planet. It's on this list. It's like their version of the New York Times. Unreliable. Live Leak, fake. What else do we have here? I didn't make the list. Newsmax.com, bias, unreliable. David Wilcock did not make this list. He did not make this list. PackAlertPress.com. These are websites I've been to. PaulCraigRoberts.org, conspiracy and bias. Bias. He writes opinions. When you have an opinion, you have a bias. PJ Media, bias. PressTV.com, bias, unreliable. Prison Planet, conspiracy. It's Alex Jones, one of Alex Jones's websites. RawStory.com, clickbait. Rents.com, conspiracy. RickWells.us, fake conspiracy. RT.com, unreliable. Russian Insider, bias, clickbait. RumorMillNews.com, conspiracy. So this is where this is going, right? Sputnik News, fake, bias. What else? What else do we have here? The Blaze. Isn't that Glenn Beck? Clickbait. Natural News and all that stuff. Mike Adams is on here. You see where I'm going with this, right? You see where I'm going. So you add that up with what's happening with David Icke, what's happening on the vaccine front, the shutdown of information, the theoretical ripping away of our right to free speech, freedom of expression. They're going after it. They want to shut the pipelines down. They want to ban the books. They want to burn the books. They want to be able to demonize people like David Icke. I mean, Alex Jones is really important in all of this because Alex Jones is a whale. And once they went after Alex Jones, once they harpooned, Moby Dick. Some people might call him Moby Dickhead. Speaking of Moby Dickhead, do you see what Moby did? Moby, the guy who's the techno artist who's in search of a post-techno life now. Apparently, he walked up to Trump at a party or some kind of fundraiser in New York. He unzipped his pants, and he rubbed the head of his penis up against Trump. What was he doing? He's like marking his territory. I mean, it's totally weird. It was totally weird. He said, "I took a shot of vodka and put my penis up against Trump as close as I could." Like, that's supposed to be revolutionary and cool? That's what you got? That's the best you got? I even interviewed Moby a long time ago. He's a pretty smart guy. I mean, relatively, I guess. One of those lives that was kind of faded in some ways. His real name is Richard Melville Hall, and he is related to Herman Melville, who did write Moby Dick. So maybe he's possessed by the spirit of Moby Dick, and he's got to have his Moby Dick moments. He was back in the day when he was doing live performances. He would take his pants off on stage. He likes to show his weenie. So I guess that was just like the latest version of that. Anyway, a little bit of a departure there, but it came up. But this is what's happening. It is all about the context and control of information and what you're able to share, what you're able to not share, whether it's on the internet or whether it's on YouTube. It's happening. It's happening right now. And it's not only is it happening in a way that is really kind of overt, but it's also very covert in some ways. Now, I hadn't paid much attention to the hearings with the Attorney General, William Barr. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't find it incredibly interesting. The whole Mueller thing and the whole collusion thing, it's a psyop. It's a total psyop, and it ripped the country right in two, and it continues to do so. Now they're going after there's obstruction language. Well, when you went in there, you weren't looking for obstruction. You were looking for Russian collusion, and there is none. Now they've abandoned that ship, and they're running over to the burning ship that is obstruction. They'll never get them on obstruction. Never. They'll just use it to create more divisiveness and more of a wedge. And Trump has already been tamed. And he's been tamed. He's, maybe he'll do the Uranus Sun Gemini conjunction, red belt maneuver, and flip everything around when the moment comes. It's possible, but he seems to be playing a very conservative game now, and really coloring inside the lines for the most part, and listening to his advisors, or letting his advisors run the show, like what's going on down in Venezuela with another failed coup, led by the son-in-law of Betsy DeVos, Eric Prince, trying to get the people of Brazil and Argentina and all the surrounding countries, Colombia, so excited about being freedom fighters that he'll pay them. That's kind of what the current landscape is. But they went after Bill Barr yesterday, and I saw some of the video. And Barr is one of these guys. Like, you are not going to get to that dude. No matter whose side he's on. I mean, he's deeply, deeply embedded with the Bushes. He was a consigliere, for all intents and purposes, to the Bush crime family. That's Bill Barr's background. And this guy, if you look at him just from like a place of physiognomy, and looking at his body structure and body type, that guy's sporting rhino armor. You're not going to get to him. Look at his face. His face is kind of thick, His body's thick. You can tell this guy has been around. He's seen shit. He knows shit. He's done shit. Right? You're not going to get to this dude. You're not going to, put him on the spot and turn the heat lamps on him and watch him melt. He's not going to do that. He's just not. The kind of bipartisan histrionics are not going to play out here. But of course, they want to just continue to drive this wedge and drive this wedge and drive this wedge between the American people and the electorate. It's part of their psychological operation. So I was given my first glimpse at Mazie Hirono. Some of you who live in Hawaii I'm sure are aware of Mazie Hirono. I was not. And her name reminds me of like a cross between a PBS children's afternoon cartoon mixed with anime. Mazie Hirono. So let's look at Miss Mazie Hirono. There she is. Ms. Hirono. Like, well, who is this person? I didn't know anything about her. No, but I do now. I know about her now. I want to read this to you. Okay, this is the background of her. She's Japanese born, and she was born in 1943, and she's a senator. She was a congresswoman. She was succeeded by Tulsi Gabbard. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she is a Scorpio. She's born November 3rd, 1947, Japanese-born American politician, serving since 2013 as the junior United States Senator from Hawaii. She's a member of the Democratic Party. Prior to her career in Senate, Hirono served as a member of the Hawaii House of Representatives from 1981 to 1985. And as Hawaii's 9th Lieutenant Governor from 1994 to 2002 under Ben Cayetano, Democratic nominee for Governor of Hawaii in 2002. Hirono was defeated by Republican Linda Lingle. Ooh. From 2007 to 2013, she served as a member of the United States House of Representatives, Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District. Hirono is the first elected female senator from Hawaii, the first Asian American woman elected to the Senate, first U.S. senator born in Japan, and the nation's first Buddhist senator. She wasn't very Buddhist-like or Buddha-like to, hey, Steve Mercer, welcome to the show. You subscribe, right on. She wasn't very Buddha-like to William Barr. She considers herself a non-practicing Buddhist. What does that mean? She's a plastic Buddhist. She's a fake Buddhist, non-practicing Buddhist. You may as well not be anything. Non-practicing. In theory, she's a Buddhist in theory, and is often cited with Hank Johnson as the first Buddhist to serve in the United States Congress. Hank Johnson is the guy from Georgia who said that if there were too many people on the island of Guam, that it would sink. She's the third woman to be elected to Congress in the state of Hawaii, after Patsy Mink and Pat Saiki. In 2012, Hirono was the Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate seat after being vacated by Daniel Kaka. Hirono won the election, defeating Linda Lingle in a rematch, landslide victory, 63% to 37%. Hirono was sworn in on January 3rd, 2013 by Vice President Joe Biden. Hirono was the only person of Asian ancestry serving in the U.S. Senate from 2013 until 2017, when Senators Tammy Duckworth and Kamala Harris were sworn in. Oh, isn't that interesting? Kamala Harris is Asian. Of course she is. Her mother is from India. Representing the states of Illinois and California, respectively. Although Brian Schatz joined the Senate a week before Hirono did, following the death of Daniel Inouye, making him Hawaii's senior senator. Her 6 years in the House of Representatives makes her the dean of the longest-serving member overall of Hawaii's congressional delegation. Okay, there's her credentials. Here's her background. She was born November 3rd, 1947, in Fukushima, Japan. Although born in Japan, she was born to a mother who was an American citizen. Okay. At the age of 16, her maternal grandmother, Sato Hiroshi, immigrated to Hawaii to work on sugar plantations. Hirono's grandmother, Terry Shinoki, was a picture bride. It's funny gig. After finding plantation work difficult, they opened a bathhouse on River Street in Honolulu in 1928 and saved their money. Do you know what I think a bathhouse is code for? Yeah, I think a bathhouse is code for cat house. Jasper, plug your ears. Cat house. That's what I think. The couple had a daughter, Sato Laura Chiya, in 1924, and a son, Akira, in 1939. Tari returned to Japan with their son and daughter. Hiroshi remained behind to run the bathhouse for 2 more years before rejoining his family. Though Laura felt out of place in Japan in 1946, age 22, she married a veterinarian, Hirono Matabe, and moved with her husband to southern Fukushima. The couple had 3 children, Roy, Maisie, and Wayne. Maisie was the middle child and only surviving daughter. Hirono's father was a compulsive gambler, an alcoholic who would pawn his wife's possessions for gambling money. Treated like a slave by her in-laws, Hirono said in 1951. Laura left her abusive marriage. The deciding moment for her had come after her brother Akira, who had returned to Hawaii after the war, had sent some money for a school uniform for Laura's youngest son, Wayne, but her husband has taken it to buy an overcoat. As Laura later recounted, my brother sent money to buy a school uniform for my son. My husband took the money, went to town, and never came back home. It was getting close to the start of school, so I went to look for him. I found out he had ordered an overcoat for himself with the money. He didn't need an overcoat in the spring. That's when I made up my mind to leave. After telling her in-laws she would be taking her elder son and Hirono to school in her hometown, Laura left the house, never to return, selling her clothes for the rail fare. She returned to her parents' house, Laura said. My husband never came around once. My parents were supportive, took all of us in. My mother gave us money. I guess it all boils down to love. Hirono's grandparents decided to return to Hawaii, but as Japanese citizens without professional backgrounds, they could only immigrate under a quota system. As Laura had citizenship, she decided to return. This goes on and on and on. Okay. So, although money was tight and family was forced to move often, Laura kept them together. It was all about Laura, Laura, Laura. Hirono never saw her father again, and he has since died. Laura became a newspaper proofreader. And then Roy became a Hawaiian Electric supervisor. Wayne drowned in 1978. Her grandfather, Hiroshi, died in 1989. Tari died in 2000. So this is all about her family. There's nothing about this person. There's elections, okay, tenure, committee assignments, all of her elections, the gubernatorial election, House of Representatives stuff, tenure, on and on and on, more elections, tenure, all her political career is highly notated. Highly notated. Okay. She's 100. She got 100% rating from the NARI Pro-Choice America. She was endorsed by Emily's List for pro-choice women. All of her bona fides are here. Personal life, a little tiny sliver. Hirono announced in May 2017 she had been diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer. It's not that long ago, which had spread to her 7th rib. The cancer was discovered following a chest X-ray in April, before some minor surgery. Her right kidney was removed surgically on May 17th, 2017, with a cyberknife. Hirono returned to the Senate on May 22nd. Was easily reelected. Do you know she's married? But nowhere in here does it say anything about her marriage. Nothing. None. Zero. Nothing. There's one little thing. Her spouse is Leighton Kim Oshma. That's it. That's it. And she comes from what appears to be a very troubled background. A very troubled background. I would say, in some ways, it kind of resembles somebody else that we know who's pretty famous and political. Do you know who that person is? It's Bill Clinton. This idea of the bathhouse. The bathhouse reminds me of, it's a cat house. That's what I'm thinking. Right? They opened up a place that probably sailors could go. But there's nothing here. And she comes, and like this woman, I have to say, we're all damaged goods to some extent, but she's damaged goods. Look at that background. And there's nothing in between. Nothing about her high school. Well, so she graduated from Kaimuki High School. Okay. She attended Ka'ahu'omanu Elementary and Cocoa Head Elementary Schools. She was at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and then off to Georgetown she went. She's got a degree in psychology. And off to Georgetown she went, and she obtained her JD in 1978. The law practice, but that's about it. Nothing there. Nothing about her husband. Zero, zilch, nada. She doesn't have any kids either. And I'm going to say something that might be a bit controversial, but I don't think people who don't have kids are trustworthy in positions of public service. I know it sounds probably, I don't know, limiting. Am I being a bigot? I don't know. I think when you have kids, you have an investment in the future. Unless, of course, you're pimping your kids out to satanic handlers, in which case, that's a whole different story. But if you have a child, you got an investment in the future. Like, when you have a kid, your life changes. It just does. Your life changes. I've seen it. I've seen it with women. I've seen it with men. It changes. So you begin to make decisions based on, what's going to happen for the future of this life form that's going to carry you and carry your wife or your husband as well into the future with you. I was watching Owen Benjamin yesterday, who I really like. And he was talking about how he's given up alcohol. It's really funny. I stopped drinking on New Year's Day. New Year's Day. And to me, it was a decision that was about quality of life. Quality of life is important. So yeah, he's given up drinking. He stopped. Good for him. You know why he did it? Because he wants to be around for his kids. That's why. He wants to be available. He doesn't want to be hungover and not be able to capture those moments or be in those moments. So hat off to you. I had my hat on. I take it off. Here, let me put my hat on. I'll put my hat on. Here we go. Right here. Owen Benjamin, I take my hat off to you for giving up alcohol. Good for you. Good for you. Props. Respect. I was going to get into the Nick Sandmann thing a little bit. I'll just pop this up because somebody's pushing back. Yeah, Nick Sandmann, Covington High Catholic high student, he's suing NBC for $275 million. How about that? How about that for fake news? Let's see what a judge does with that. That'll be interesting. Lynn Wood, who is his lawyer, is a pretty good lawyer. He's had some pretty high-profile cases. He's a bulldog. So keep your eyes on the Nick Sandmann trial and how it affects, how speech is theoretically free or not, and in which avenues, venues, portals, and media outlets it actually has the right to be free. All right, what's going on in Chatlandia? Let's see what we got here. We got a lot of messages here. Let's see what we got. Anyway, the Hirono, man, I didn't see her before, but she's nuts. What does dual citizenship have to be with being sovereign? Double martini should fix that. What else? Maybe dual citizenship makes them sovereign? I don't think so. Where's Mr. Claus when you need him? That's funny. Steve, welcome to the show. All this sounds friendly and close, friendly like my parents' stories. Loss of freedom in Cuba. Always found Moby's music repetitive, just plain Yeah. He had one good album. That Play album was brilliant. That put him on the map in a lot of ways. Okay, I'm out of here today. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm hoping I'll be joined by Rock Castaldo. He's got some interesting stuff around the Vatican and the Pope and some of the symbols that have been revealed to him. So fingers crossed. Steve and Chris will be on next week for all of you waiting for the Better Homes and Garden tour of the Crimi mansion, of the Crimi estate. That'll wait. You'll have to wait until next week for that. But we will go there. We'll do a live broadcast, and Chris will take you through the wonders of her garden, give you a very interesting tour, and biodynamics and all that cool stuff. So until then, thank you for being a part of the show. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to set what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. Rock on, man. Rock on.